The nation's largest retailer says it is hiking its prices to offset rising import costs due to the president's tariffs. Walmart says shoppers can expect to start to see those increases toward the end of this month.
Best to keep our prices as low as possible. But given the magnitude of the tariffs, even at the reduced levels announced this week, we aren't able to absorb all the pressure given the reality of narrow retail margins.
The company expects the cost will hit back-to-school shopping as it likely looks to adjust pricing on non-essential items first, so that grocery items like bananas, avocados, and coffee are less effective.
Like, the prices are ridiculous now. It's to the point where it's going to be harder for people to shop because the prices are just insane.
It began with a post, not a policy paper, not a press conference, just another all-caps eruption from Donald Trump. And within hours, it sent ripples through the stock market, panic through boardrooms, and confusion across the very red state communities that once backed him without question. Trump demanded that Walmart, the nation's largest retailer, should eat the tariffs. Not raise prices, not adjust strategy, not explain economic reality, just eat the cost of his trade war and keep silent about it. He wrote it like a command, like a warning. I will be watching and so will your customer. But Walmart was not silent. The company had just announced that it could no longer absorb the cost increases triggered by Trump's newly announced tariffs on imports from China, Mexico, and other key trading partners. Prices, they said, would have to go up. Not across the board, not on everything, but on enough to make it hurt. Coffee, bananas, avocados, shoes, car seats, electronics. The list is growing, and the timeline is short. Walmart executives warned that shoppers will begin seeing the increases by the end of May, with even sharper spikes arriving in June. The reason is simple. Shipments made under Trump's tariffs are arriving now, and those tariffs are too steep to ignore. Before we continue, hit that like button to help us beat the YouTube algorithm and to show your support. Trump's response was as predictable as it was detached from reality. He accused Walmart of deflecting blame. He insisted they could afford to absorb the costs because they made billions of dollars last year. He claimed tariffs were not the reason prices were going up, even though Walmart's own chief executive officer and chief financial officer confirmed they were. Trump's post made headlines around the world. Domestic media called it a tantrum. Foreign outlets referred to it as a warning shot to American business. But to shoppers and economists alike, it read like a desperate attempt to shift the blame for an economic storm Trump himself created. Walmart did not retaliate. They issued a calm statement. They said they would keep prices as low as possible for as long as possible. They reiterated their commitment to affordability, but they made it clear that given the scale of the tariffs and the thin margins in retail, some price increases are inevitable. This is not a matter of politics. It is a matter of math. And for millions of Americans, it is about to become a matter of survival. The White House scrambled to contain the fallout. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent admitted in a Sunday interview that Walmart would, in fact, be passing on some of the tariff costs to consumers. He said this calmly, trying to frame it as a worst-case scenario that might not fully materialize, but the facts are already public. Walmart's executive team has said it plainly. The tariff impact is real, the pressure is mounting, and the price hikes are already underway. The irony is brutal. Walmart is the one company most capable of absorbing price shocks. It has the scale, the leverage, the muscle to negotiate harder than anyone. But even Walmart has reached its breaking point. If they cannot hold the line, what happens to everyone else? Target, Costco, Dollar General, Kroger. When Walmart shifts its pricing, the entire industry follows, and the consequences will not be limited to shareholders. They will land squarely on the shoulders of the very shoppers who made Walmart what it is, and who made Donald Trump what he is. Working-class voters in the Midwest, rural families in the South, single parents in small towns who rely on Walmart's low prices to make ends meet. These are the same voters who backed Trump when he promised to bring jobs home, crush China, and defend the forgotten man. And now, they are discovering that the tariffs he celebrated as a tool of economic justice are, in fact, taxes on them. Walmart's chief executive officer, Doug McMillon, said the quiet part aloud. He told analysts on a quarterly call that the company would do what it could but could not promise to fully shield customers from the new costs. He emphasized that food prices would be protected for now, but general merchandise would almost certainly see price hikes. Shoes, clothing, school supplies, items families buy every week, items that are no longer optional. The backlash is growing. A woman in Missouri said she spent $20 more than usual on her weekly shopping trip. She had to put back snacks, delay a school purchase, and skip the meat section entirely. A father in Indiana told a reporter he has begun rationing lunches for his kids. Fewer options, cheaper brands, no extras, just enough to get through the week. These are not isolated stories, they are the new American reality. And Trump, he blames Walmart. He says they should be patriotic, that they should take the hit for the team, that they should protect customers by sacrificing profits. Their responsibility, he argues, is not to shareholders, but to him and to the trade war he has chosen to escalate. But even within his own party, cracks are forming quietly. Some Republican lawmakers are distancing themselves from the tariffs. They know what is coming, they see the polling, they hear from constituents, and they are beginning to realize that if Walmart cannot resist the pressure, then local businesses will collapse under it. Small retailers cannot eat the tariffs, they cannot reroute supply chains, and they cannot call the Treasury Secretary and plead for a favor. Trump's attack on Walmart is not just political theater, it is a warning to every business in America. Obey or be shamed, absorb the cost of my trade war, or be accused of betrayal, pretend that tariffs are painless, or be blamed for the pain. But the economy does not work like that, and now reality is breaking through the surface. Before we continue, hit that subscribe button to show your support to the channel. The stock market has noticed. Walmart's shares dipped after the clash became public. Analysts warned that other retailers could follow, that guidance might be withdrawn, and that price instability could ripple through every sector of consumer goods, and that once shoppers adjust their behavior, once they begin buying less, the recovery could stall. Economists have been sounding the alarm for months. Tariffs are not free. They are not paid by China. They are collected at the border, and they increase costs all the way down the chain, from the dock to the truck to the shelf. Yale's Budget Lab estimates that the average American household will lose more than $2,800 this year in purchasing power because of these tariffs. That is not speculation. That is a projection based on current rates. Trump dismisses these warnings. He says they are lies, that the media is corrupt, that economists are out of touch, and that America is winning. But winning does not feel like this. Not at the checkout line, not at the gas pump, not in the kitchen, not in the growing pile of unpaid bills. Even former Walmart executives have weighed in. Bill Simon, who once led the company's U.S. operations, said publicly that Walmart could easily absorb the costs and that the current leadership is exaggerating. But most economists disagree. They point to Walmart's razor-thin margins. They note that its profits, though large in total, are spread across thousands of stores, hundreds of thousands of employees, and tens of millions of customers. Walmart is not just a company, it is a proxy for the entire economy. And when Trump wages war on Walmart, he is waging war on the consumer economy that fuels his own voter base. Pay more for everything from socks to soap are not executives, they are voters, and their patience is wearing thin. International observers have taken note. News outlets from Singapore to London describe Trump's post as a tantrum, as economic bullying, as an example of the risks businesses face under political volatility. They wonder what message it sends when the former president of the United States publicly threatens a corporation for telling the truth. And they are watching closely as other U.S. retailers brace for impact. Treasury Secretary Besant is still trying to reassure the markets. He says price hikes may not be as bad as feared, that inflation is softening, and that proposed tax cuts could ease the burden, but none of that will arrive in time to stop what is already in motion. Walmart's prices are going up. And when that happens, everything changes. The voters who once cheered for tariffs are now realizing what they actually mean. They mean paying more for the same product. They mean less money at the end of the month. They mean sacrifices that were never supposed to be necessary. Trump once said trade wars were easy to win. Now his supporters are asking, at what cost?